Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining today's Wide Format Wednesday webinar on how to make your move with the new VUTEk M3h hybrid LED printer. My name is Adriana Gutierrez, and I'm a Regional Marketing Manager here at EFI. I would like to introduce our speakers for today. Chloe McGuffin, she is a Senior Product Manager here at EFI. Benny Vinson, he is an application specialist at our Londonderry, New Hampshire Customer Experience Center. And our special guest, John Marylander, he is a CEO owner of Printed Ink. To start things off, Chloe will present a quick overview of our sign and display graphics printers. Then she will join Benny on a live demonstration of the M3h LED printer, followed by a discussion with John on his business and how the M3h printer is making an impact. We will have a live Q&A session at the end, so please send in your questions using the chat box. Today's event will be recorded and made available to you all. Chloe, I will turn things to you.
Thank you so much, Adriana. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Chloe McGuffin. I'm the product manager for our hybrid products at EFI, and I'm excited today to show you a little bit about the M3h and then talk to John, one of our early adopters, before we go into a demo for you all. What you're seeing on the screen right now is our full line of sign and display printers, starting at our wide format printers all the way up to our single pass, really high speed printers. And you can see how the whole line covers a whole gamut of things that you might be looking for in sign and display graphics. Today, we're here to talk about the M3h, and the M3h is a product that sits right between the rest of our VUTEk product line and our wide format product line. So it's an excellent product and printer for customers who might be looking to move up in productivity, looking to increase throughput, and looking to get into that VUTEk line that's a little bit more production oriented and a little bit faster than the wide format printers that they've used in the past. The M3h is a 3.2 meter hybrid printer. It's an LED printer. It prints both rigid and flexible materials up to 2 inches thick. The standard configuration is 4 colors plus white, but it comes in a couple of other configurations. There's a 4-color only, and there's the ability to add clear ink in the future. It prints with a resolution of up to 2400 dpi using a 7 and 14 picoliter grayscale. We have multi-layer printing up to 5 layers, and the speeds go up to 77 boards an hour. And there's a continuous print multi-cue functionality that you'll get to see today in the demo with Benny. That's one of the features on this new printer that we're really excited about. To go in a little bit more detail about some of these things, as I said, the standard configuration is going to be 4 colors plus white, but there's optional 4-color only. And in the future, you'll be able to upgrade to 4 colors plus clear and white, or 4 colors plus clear. It's a true hybrid platform. It can print 2 up or 1 up when you're printing rigid materials. And on this model of it, you'll be able to print 1 up when you print with rolls. There are some ways you can print with 2 up with rolls, but there's going to be some limitations, and Benny will talk to you about that a little bit when we get into the demo. It has automated head cleaning, but you do still have the option to wipe it yourself if that's what you'd like to do. There's anti-static bars both on the front and the back of the carriage, as well as one anti-static bar that runs the width of the print area. You'll be able to see that on a tour. That's something that we added based on customer feedback on some previous hybrid models. And that's, as we go through this whole thing today, that's a theme that you'll see. There's a lot of places where we've taken feedback we got from you and we got from our other customers and incorporated it into this printer to address some things on previous models that people wanted to see different. So there's lots of things that we'll point out as we go through this demo today, where we've taken your feedback and we've made it a little more user-friendly. It has new EFI genuine LED inks. The M3h ink is a new line of ink just for this printer. This printer has different print heads than we've used in the past, the Kyocera print heads. So this is an ink specifically designed for those print heads. And it's an ink that you're going to be able to use in a wide range of applications. It has an automated and configurable 6-zone vacuum system for strong media hold down that's going to allow you to hold a really wide range of materials on the belt of this printer. I know corrugated is something that a lot of people are interested in printing, and with this vacuum system, a lot of corrugated applications are possible. We'll be able to see in the demo, Benny set the zones on the vacuum and really configure it to his media and that really gives you the adjustability to print a lot of things. It has touchscreens front and back, with a GUI that is simple and easy to use, easy to set up. Um, It'll be familiar to people who have used a lot of EFI products in the past, and we'll get to see that today as well. And then it comes with an optional Fiery Pro server. If that's how you're going to run it with Fiery, it's compatible with the Pro server we've used on previous products. Just to look at the speeds for a minute. So when we talk about speed on this printer, we're talking in terms of resolution and smoothing. As I said, it's up to 2400 DPI. Some of these modes are in the 18 DPI resolution. So you have the ability to print in either resolution, and then you're going to use your smoothing to set your pass count. These are the resolutions and the pass counts that we recommend. These are the modes that we've predefined, but you have a lot of flexibility to find the mode that works for you with this printer. There are other modes that you can do. You can use the 2400 resolution with a light smoothing, and that's going to give you a print mode that's between the production and the pop that you see here. So there's a lot of flexibility to find exactly what's right for you with this printer and to really dial it into your specific application. When we talk about speed, most people are going to be working in that production or pop mode. So you'll be looking at 30 to 38 boards per hour, which is a nice step up for customers who are familiar with our wide format line, and gets into a lot more throughput and opens up the possibility to do bigger jobs, to work faster, and to be less constrained when larger volumes of work come through your shop. Thank you. John Marinlander, our early adopter on the M3H, has generously given us some of his time today to come and talk to us about his experience with the M3H. So I want to ask John to join me now. John is the owner and CEO of Printed Ink, which is a business he founded with his father. So thank you so much for joining us, John. We're really happy to have you here today.
Awesome. Can you tell me a little bit about the kinds of print services that you provide at Printed Ink?
Sure. We do, the main stuff that comes off of the M3H. We do wallpaper, window films. We do custom acrylics. We also provide roll-to-roll products as well as dye sublimation. And we have a full routing and laser cutting setup as well.
That's awesome. And what kind of EFI equipment are you running?
We have the M3H, of course, and then we also have a FabReview 340.
Okay. And did you have another EFI printer that you replaced when you got the M3H?
We had the 30H, which was also a really great machine, and that led us to the positive experience that we had with EFI to have the confidence to move up to the next step.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And what made this the right time for you to move up to the next step?
As I'm sure a lot of the attendees here probably can share this frustration with me, demand for short turnaround times has become so ridiculous that it's pretty much our business has turned into, well, either you can do it in this small amount of time or you lose the job. So there's been a significant increase in the demand for quick turnaround or burst capacity, and this machine really gave us the opportunity to take on those jobs with little stress. It's a big difference when you're going from 10 to 15 boards per hour to 50 plus. It really allows you to continue to make money, have tighter margins, and turn jobs around quickly. It also helped alleviate some of the issues we were having with finishing, to where instead of giving our router operator a few boards per hour, we can complete the whole job and have them focus on the entire task once the printing is finished.
Yeah, other than, increasing your speed, increasing your throughput, were there any capabilities that you were looking to add when you went from the 30H to the M3H?
Definitely the ability to eventually have the dual roll was very important. To be able to really take advantage of dual roll-to-roll printing allows you to get the most out of the machine speed, and the future thought of clear ink and how we can create a product that differentiates us from some of the other shops out there that may only have color and white.
Yeah, of course. And so what has the impact of the M3H been on your business?
It's been great. It's been the quality coming off of it has been incredible. Every print that comes out of it is impressive. It's so versatile in all of its different modes. You can get quick printing jobs that have minimal artifacts of printing at unbelievable speeds, so much to the point that our operators complain that they can't get the next board loaded in before the first one's done. And even when you slow it down and you want to get museum quality printing for maybe second surface acrylic or window films, multiple layers, it's still quick, and the quality that comes out of it's just incredible. Great color, great sharpness, and really it handles a lot of different types of printing really well.
Yeah, when we were talking about this on Monday, you said to me that you were constantly surprised by the quality of things coming off the M3H. Can you
Absolutely.
talk a little bit about that?
When you have that kind of power, you have the ability to test print, and you don't lose time, so you can really push the machine to its limits. And the different print modes and the different levels of smoothing all produce such great quality that it's just every time you look at something come out of the machine, it's excellent. It really is. There's rarely something that's got that much consistency. So we've been very happy. The quality is just really,
Yeah.
really good, even in the faster
And
modes.
I was going to say, I know that you've also taken advantage of your ability to really configure and mix and match the print modes a little bit and use some of the modes that aren't even on the speed chart. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, we've always been one to go outside the box. Um, we like to make our own profiles, and we've used both Onyx and Fiery. And the beauty of it is, if you're running a job that has a mixture of darker colors and lighter colors, you can get everything into your queue. You can set all your prints that have the darker colors to be one step slower. And without changing profiles, without changing any settings, you can get 20-30% faster speeds on the same job. Say you have panels that are lighter in color. So it's very easy to do that on the fly.
And beyond just the speed of the printing, what do you think has had the biggest impact on your business with the M3H?
And the quality, it's really
Yeah. What
amazing.
about the open time? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, of course. One of the things that makes this printer very special is you come in the morning, and if you're feeling adventurous, you can just start printing without cleaning the heads. It works with all the nozzles in. Just for good measure, we start our morning off with a head cleaning and a purge, but that's it for the whole day. So you can
Okay.
do an hour's worth of printing at 9 in the morning, come back after lunch and do 2 more hours, and not have to spend even a minute to clean the heads. And you can just load the sheet and go. And I do not have any other machine where you can immediately load something and start printing without any wait time whatsoever. And that's been a huge time saver. It's also very nice that it has the ability to measure your material and automatically find the edges of your materials, so you can get very accurate printing. And the user face is very friendly, very easy to understand all that stuff.
That's awesome. Okay, I'm just going to ask you two more questions because people have really been bearing with a lot of talking up front on
No
this
problem.
webinar. So first off, any advice for anyone considering moving up into super wide format printing with something like the M3H?
My advice on that would be, don't buy a machine based off of what you're doing right now, because in a week, in 2 weeks, in a month, you could come across a job that you can't do because it's a little bit above your capacity. And if you have the means to size up and grow into it, that would be what I would highly recommend. And I wish someone gave me that advice when I got my first printer, and which was not an EFI. And when I first started, we bought a machine that could print about 4 boards per hour, which is not uncommon for a small shop. But the jump from 4 boards to 15 boards wasn't that big of a cost difference. But obviously, the jump from 4 boards to 50 boards is. But if you're on the edge of, do I really need this much capacity? If I could go back in time and tell myself, size up, you'll grow into it, I would. It's been such a delight to be able to turn around jobs quickly. It's much less stressful. It's much easier to make money when you're working on something for an hour versus 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, no, that's really good insight. Thank you. And then final question, kind of growing off of that, what's next for Printed Ink?
So we're in the process of hopefully buying a building to move into once and for all. And with that would come hopefully hiring a couple more people, maybe getting a bit more equipment, maybe looking into the 5-meter fab review, and just keep on tracking with this steady growth. try to make a good environment for our employees and continue with our good quality, and really try to dive into how do we take advantage of the capacity and the quality of the M3H.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. Now, thank you everyone for, bearing with a lot of talking up front on this webinar. I know you guys all want to see the printer. So I'm going to bring Benny in and he's going to show you the printer.
Hello, everybody. I'm just going to give you an overview on basically the M3H. I'll bring you around and then I'll do some printing a little bit after. If anybody has any questions, are we taking questions now, guys? Okay, okay.
We'll
Tiffany's
get
gonna
some
be
along the
watching
way.
the chat. So yeah, if you guys got questions, you can just put them in the chat and Tiffany will let me know if you guys got something, okay? Basically, you've got a really nice GUI right here with really easy to get around. You can do all kinds of stuff in here. I'm not going to bore you guys with all that stuff. You can do multi-layer, all that stuff. The nice thing is around the back, Tiff, if we want to come around the back too. It's touchscreen, so you have the ability to also plan your jobs and do all your setups and stuff like that on the back as well. Like I said, it's touchscreen, so it makes it really nice and easy, so I don't have to keep going back and forth. We've got couple other things on here. We've got I call it it just makes the material go in a little bit better. So it's kind of like a dancer light, if you will, guys. This bar here, so when I'm running like full width media, let's say a 3.2 meter banner, something like that, I will use this. Otherwise, I can just leave it up, keep it out of the way. Not a big deal. It just doesn't get in the way of everything. You can see it's a hybrid, so obviously we can do boards and rolls on it. We will be coming out with a split shaft, like John was talking about earlier, where we're going to be able to run two different rolls at the same time. You can do it now. It's just a little bit of limitations to it. So with that inclusion of the dual roll, we'll be able to have just a lot less limitations, if you will, to doing it. The tables come with the machine as well. You can see they have some guides on it that works with the auto sheet feeder. And I'll show you guys that a little bit later, but basically it uses a sensor so it can tell when the sheet's in there and it'll start printing. And the nice thing about that is you're able to put one sheet in after another, so you don't lose any time, and it's really as fast, like John was saying earlier. It's pretty much as fast as your operator can get the boards in there, is pretty much as fast as you can go. We'll go around this way, Tiff. This is what your ink cabinet is. Nothing too special about that. We've got refillable bottles in there. It goes off of weight, so it'll tell you and warn you if you're running out of ink. You can still keep printing and add ink as you're printing, so you shouldn't lose any time. Let's say if you're running 8 to 10 hours a day or something like that, you can keep the printer moving. So even if you are low on ink, you can add it while it's printing. Real easy to get to, and the nice thing is there's not a whole lot of maintenance involved. You've got a couple of filters in here that you have to change. We recommend every 6 months, and that's pretty easy to do. They snap right on, so should go pretty easy for you. Not a whole lot of maintenance with this machine, just greasing of the bearings, and like I said, replacing the ink filter.
And Benny, one quick question on that, right? Something we've been talking about is incorporating customer feedback on this printer. So can you compare it a little bit to some of the float systems that people might have used in the past to the weight system we're using here?
Yeah, so before, I don't know if anybody online has had one of our older machines, but typically what it was we'd have the ink would actually be attached at the top and then it would hang. So it was more like Chloe said, it was kind of like a sensor system, if you will. So now what we're using instead is a weight system. So it just kind of weighs how much ink is in there. It's pretty sensitive, which is nice. So the nice thing about this is you're not getting on the old bags. I don't know if you guys remember, sometimes you'd have, I'd say maybe 5 or 10% of the ink left at the bottom of the bag. So the nice thing about this is you're fully using all the ink that you buy. You don't have any waste or anything like that. Another nice thing, and I think John mentioned it earlier too, is we're finding that I really don't have to purge much on this machine as well. It's been fantastic as far as I can come in the morning. I'll do one jet just to make sure everything's good. And usually I'm off in printing. I don't really have to purge as much as you would have on some of the earlier models that we had, or let's say 5 or 6 years ago. I think that's a function of the ink and the new jets. Let's go around the front and I can show you guys the carriage. Do we have any questions or anything, Chloe, yet? No? Okay, good.
There's a few questions that are on the Q&A. If I can ask
Okay.
those. That's right, Benny. There's one is about if you can just talk a little bit about the maintenance, the costs, and what's required.
Sure.
Second is there
Sure,
a pallet loader option, and third is there any skis? Those are the three questions. I can repeat.
Okay, so I'll answer them as I remember them. As far as skis are concerned, engineering is working on those as we speak. I'm not sure if we have a timeline on that, but I know it's something that we definitely have as a priority. We have a lot of customers that obviously need those, so that's something we'll be coming out with. I would assume, Chloe can correct me if I'm wrong, I would assume within probably a couple months, if that,
Yeah,
that we'll be coming out with those.
we'll be adding skis to the system this summer. With the selectable vacuum, a lot of those corrugated materials run now, but we understand for double-sided printing, you're really going to need those skis. So this summer, you'll see those get added to the system.
Yep. So, okay, that was one. As far as maintenance, guys, so you're changing your own ink filters every 6 months. It really depends on how many hours you're running it, guys. So that's like one shift, let's say 8 to 10 hours. You might have to do it a little bit earlier if you're running more than that, or less, obviously, if you're not running as much. Tiff, you want to come around the side and I'll show you. The only other real major maintenance thing, if you would, besides keeping it clean, right? Everybody knows about keeping the lamps and the jet surface clean. The only other thing is really you've got a couple of grease points here that you're going to use so that you're just keeping the bearings nice and greased on the carriage so it runs nice and smooth. Nothing really major though, guys. I would say if I had to average everything out, you may be looking at like 10 to 15 minutes a week, especially if your operator is pretty diligent with keeping it clean as he's going. Like I said, with the fact that we don't have to purge as much, I feel like there's a lot less maintenance on this machine that you would have had to do prior. And with some of the improvements of this machine, you don't have to do as much. While we're over here, I can show you guys, I call this thing on the side here the cow catcher. Basically, that's if you're hitting a material or something like that, it will stop the carriage right at that time it hits the material. It's very sensitive, which is good. You won't ruin any material. I've been able to have some head hits and actually recover them and still keep printing and save the material at times. Really depends on what material it is, but I have been able to get away with that here and there. Obviously, we've got the lamps and we also have static mitigation in between the lamp and the jets themselves. Tiff's bringing us around and we can take a look at the front end here. I believe there's 12 jets in there. There's split jets. Another nice thing about this one is, let's say in the future, if you order the machine CMYK with white, the nice thing is in the future, let's say you decide to add clear, it's already set up and has spots for the clear jets available, so it's very easy to add it on afterwards if you find that, let's say you have a customer that you think would like it, or maybe you just grow your business a little bit and have some different kinds of printing you're doing. We can always add clear in the field after you've bought the machine, which is a nice upgrade. And we're actually running clear right now and it's been working fantastic for us. So that's another add-on that you can get as well.
Yeah, and just a couple of quick things on the clear. So one big advantage of that, Benny called out, it's really field upgradable. It also means that if you get clear on the system, whether you field upgrade it or you order it from the factory, it's not going to affect your white density. You're not going to be having to do more layers of white, add more white to make up for having lost heads to get clear. And the other thing we wanted to call out is that this is going to have the EFI protective clear on it, in addition to the decorative clear that you might have seen on some of our other systems.
Yeah, so you'll have a choice on which one you guys want to get, what one's important for you, right? There's also, if you see that red bar back there, guys, that's also static mitigation. Works really great for, let's say, styrenes, any of those clear materials, Lintac and stuff like that, that you might be running. It really helps with the static. So I've been real happy with that so far. Other things, we've got a mag drive on here, which is kind of something we've been doing for a while now. But if you're not familiar with it, it's basically like the high-speed trains. It basically uses magnet for the movement instead of using a pulley system, which has been fantastic. You're not worried about wearing out any of your pulleys or any of your belts or something like that. So let's say 4, 5, 6, even longer down the road, you've still got accurate dot placement and everything is where it should be. You're worried about wearing out parts and stuff like that. So we've had really good success with the mag drives. And with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a file and a job to run over here. And maybe, Chloe, if there's other questions, you can just tell me while I'm doing this.
There's a couple other questions I can hit you guys with, if that's okay.
Sure.
Two of them are related. Is automatic table takeoff or pallet loader? Is there any automation like that on this printer? There's one.
So currently, right now, we don't have that, but I would assume we're going to be doing that in the future. For those of you guys that are familiar, we have an H5, which is a kind of a larger, faster machine that has all of those capabilities. And so what we're trying to integrate those peripherals into this machine. And that has all the stackers, the unloaders, the loaders and stuff like that. So we're hoping, I would say this year or at some point, we'll have that coming in the future. Anything else, Dan?
Yeah, there's two others that I think are interesting from this, where you're at right now while you're setting up the print. If the printer's not used for a few days or weeks, is there any automatic procedures or maintenance or things that you need to do to keep it in shape?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's an interesting question because there's a couple of different ways, right? So let's say you guys close down for Christmas, say, right? Let's say it's 2 weeks. We do have a procedure, and basically all you're doing is you're putting it's kind of like ink without the pigment in it, if you will. You're basically putting that inside of your heads just to keep them nice and wet and good to go. You flush that out of the system and then add back your ink. So, it takes a couple hours to do. It's nothing major, but it will save your jets from, drying out for after 2 weeks or so. If it's just like a weekend or even 3 or 4 days, there's nothing special. You can do, it does have automatic purge, if you will, where it'll kind of do like, I guess it's kind of a mini purge, where it just basically will spit a little bit of ink out of your jets, and you can set when you want that happened and all that stuff, so it kind of just keeps them wet. But I've honestly found I just shut the machine off over the weekend. I'm able to come in on Monday and really just start printing within 10, 15 minutes. So I don't feel like there's a whole lot of maintenance or any of that type of stuff that I have to do to keep this thing running.
Excellent. So the another one was our maintenance person is familiar with a GS 2000. Is there a class or is that knowledge transferable, or is there a class for that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So really, that's fantastic. If they're familiar with the GS, this machine's going to be fairly easy for them to run. The GUI is a little bit different, but a lot of the other stuff is really similar. The nice thing is that with EFI, if you were to buy any of our machines, and it really doesn't matter what machine you buy, but we provide training for you. So we'll have a trainer come to your actual shop, and we'll spend the week with your operator or operators. So you can, I think they allow up to like 5 or 6. But either way, you get that training already included in the price of the printer. So the nice thing is, like I said, we'll come down there after they install it, and we'll teach you everything you need to know about how to run it. So I wouldn't worry too much about the learning curve and stuff like that, especially if you have somebody that's already familiar with the GS. But even somebody that's brand new to printing or something like that, we make the training courses really easy to go by, and we can tailor them towards your work. Let's say if you do some specialty work or something like that, they always take a couple days and run production with you as well. So I feel like our training department does a really good job of keeping everybody. We want you guys to be printing as much as possible and getting out as much production as possible too. So it's a priority for us as well. All right, so I think unless you have something else, Dan, I'm just going to set this up to run. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how it runs continuous without the fence. So basically there's some sensors inside it. It can tell when the board's going through and it automatically knows when to start the print. The nice thing about that is I'm not waiting for that fence to come down and come back up, and I'm able to just keep shoving boards through, which is great for production, right? So I'm going to set something up right now, and it's already set up, guys. So I'm just basically telling it to run one after the other in continuous. So I'm just going to hit print. And maybe if you want to come around in the back, Tiff. Oh, okay. Yep. So you can see the belt's moving. Basically, it's waiting for me to go ahead and put my first sheet in. So what it's going to do first is on the first board of every one you do, it's going to do a head height check and also a scan to let it know exactly where the board is in the actual bed space. So the nice thing about that is even if you're off a little, or let's say your side guide's off a little bit or something like that, it'll know anyways where the sheets are going in. So it's really nice, really easy to use. Tiff, I'm going to bring us just over here just so we can see. I don't know if you guys can see that so much. Let me just take this. Forgive my shakiness here. Okay. I just wanted to show you guys. So basically inside here, there's that red sensor. You can kind of see it right here, right? Kind of hard to see on camera. But that's where the sensor is, and there's 4 of those that go across the whole machine. So it's nice. Like I said, you don't have to be super precise on putting your sheets in there. It will automatically register it, and it knows exactly when it comes in, where it's going to be at. A nice system. Worked really well for us. I think I mentioned before too, this machine has white and all of the multi-layer options with that. So let's say, I think John mentioned before that he was doing, say, window clings or something like that. You can certainly do your, color, white, black, white, color, any of those combinations, real easy to set up in there. And you basically can make those configurations and save them in the database so that you don't have to keep remaking all that stuff. So nice system on the GUI as well. And maybe we go around to the front again, Tiff, and they can see them coming out. And do we want to, let's bring the camera over so they can see how it starts that second print. Kind of neat how it does it. So basically it knows exactly, like I said, with that sensor, it's able to tell exactly where the second board is. So it gives me the ability to just kind of put it in when I have time. Obviously, if I'm sitting there and I'm a good operator, I'm going to put it in as close to the second board as I can. But sometimes stuff happens, you get called away. The nice thing about it is if you miss it, it's just going to wait for you. It's not like the old style on the GSs where if you missed it, you had to start over or restart your print. This one's nice because it's just going to keep waiting for that second board to come in. So real easy to use system, and it's worked great for us so far. I'm not sure what John mentioned before. Right now, we're running a couple different DPIs. We have 1800 and 2400. We are constantly improving and using different stuff. So we have a couple new modes that we're testing right now that will give you higher DPIs. So we're constantly improving the product as well, which is also nice. We take a lot of feedback from our customers. John's a great example of that, where he was our early adopter, and we work closely with him to see what works for him, what doesn't, and take advice from him as well as our field service guys and stuff like that. So we're constantly improving the product as well, which I think is a fantastic thing about it. Dan, any other questions, Dan?
Let me see. There's a couple. It's print heads. Are these Ricoh or other print heads? And is there a primer option for the printer? That was one.
A primer option? Is that what you said? I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yeah. Is what's the print heads, and then is there a primer option?
So the print heads are Kyocera's. Primer option, I, I would imagine you're talking like to jet it. And currently right now we do not have that. We have white. And what I would tell, whoever's asking that question, if that's something that you're interested in, then we can certainly look into doing something like that. Like I said, we're always looking at what our customer needs are, and engineering is always willing to work with people to find out what will work and what doesn't, and try and find a solution for you. We do have some customers, depending on not knowing the specifics of your what your needs are. We do have some customers using white as kind of a primer. It depends on the material and what your finished product's supposed to be looking like. But there are several ways to get around some of the stuff that you're maybe looking to do. And what I would say is if people want to move a little further, you can talk with your sales guy and set up. We can even have a conversation where I can talk to you guys about what your solution could be in the future. Or, another great way to go about it is just send us some of your material and maybe some of your files, and we can do all those samples for you and kind of do some due diligence for you, so you guys are familiar with what you're looking at. I always recommend that you send your own material and files so that you can see apples to apples what you're producing now and what you're capable of producing here as well, right?
There's another question. Can we dual lane printing? Can you explain dual lane printing and maybe feeding individually?
So basically, it's the same way I just did it. When I showed you guys, I hope you could see there was that red sensor. So basically, dual lane printing would just be the same thing I just did, guys. It's just doing two of them, and all it is the printer itself knows where those sheets are going to be. So when you feed them in, it just knows exactly when it hits that red sensor. It just knows that's when it's starting. So it's really similar to what I was doing before.
Yeah, and I think one of the cool things about it is, if you've ever printed two up on a fence, your lanes kind of have to be in sync. They have to have the same spacing. The boards have to be in the same place. With this dual lane system, the lanes can be staggered, so you can load up one board, have it start printing, go over, same operator loads up the other side and has it start printing, and just have a little bit of an offset. Also, Benny, I don't know if you answered the question about what the print heads were on this.
Kyocera.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, so those are actually fairly new print heads for us. I believe this is the first machine that we have those in. They've been working phenomenal. I think the combination of the Kyocera heads and the ink that we make our own ink. But I think John mentioned it before as well. The fact that we don't have to purge, it's a lot less waste and a lot less money you're throwing down the drain, right? So you're really able to put all that ink money that you're paying for directly on your substrates, and it's just been fantastic for us, really.
Two other questions related to print. Can the machine print frost? It's in quotes. And can it print on pre-cut boxes?
Okay, those are two good questions. So frost, what we do currently, we do have some customers doing that. And basically what we'll do is like tints of white. Whether or not that's good for you or not, we'd have to do a sample for you and show you, right? So a lot of people expect something different or whatever the case. But like I said earlier, Dan, I would just recommend somebody, if that's something that they seriously need, send us your file and what your expectations are, and we can certainly run some samples off and see if it fits your need for you. But we do have a lot of customers doing that now for privacy windows, stuff like that. And really a lot of times they're using our white and doing like tints of it or screens of it. That seems to work well for some customers. Whether or not for your application or not, we'll have to test it out.
I can jump in here and say we use the white to simulate frosted on window films frequently. It puts it down very nice at very light opacities.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, that might be good for a lot of customers, depending on what you're trying to look for or what you're trying to achieve.
I think the other question, Benny, was about pre-cut boxes.
Okay, yep. So pre-cut boxes are challenging, right? So it really depends on the material. Let's say if they're cardstock or something like that, I really don't see it being a problem. Really, there are two main things that would be an issue, let's say, in a production run on pre-cut boxes. If they're corrugated and they're, let's say, wonky, you know, if they're not laying flat, it's possible that with the addition of the skis that those could help, you know, depending on how the boxes actually look. You might not even have to use the skis if they lay flat. And really, the nice thing about all these machines, it's basically like a CAD machine, right? So if you have a 0, 0 point, as long as your artwork fits that and you can repeat where you're putting that material in, shouldn't be a problem. Shouldn't be a problem. But like I said, it would be something that I would certainly recommend testing. You know, send us a few of your boxes. We can even do a video shoot for you, show you how it actually works on the machine itself.
Maybe we can show them really quickly how to set up the vacuum selectable zones just
Yeah,
based on that
sure.
question.
So that's something, that's a great thing, Chloe. I don't think I mentioned that yet. But another nice feature of this machine is our vacuum zones. So the vacuum itself is dynamic, which what that means is, let's say I'm running 2 boards up, 4x4s, and only one board is on the image plane. What it'll do is increase the vacuum underneath that board because it only needs it under that board, right? So with the, I don't want to call it an intelligent system, but it kind of knows if there's where the boards are. So the nice thing about that is what it'll do is it'll give you more vacuum in the one section than you need it and take it away from the section you don't need it, and vice versa. Also, what you can do too is you can see back here, we've got these 2 sections here. Those are behind the fence or behind the roll that I would call it. And what that does, you can see how I set it here with only 10% vacuum. The nice thing about that is I'm not fighting my vacuum when I'm putting a new board on there. I can set it very low, just enough to bring it into that image space. And by doing that, what it allows me to do is it just allows me to insert my boards a lot easier. And like I said, where I'm not fighting with the vacuum and stuff like that.
Wonderful. Thank you for showing that. Dan, are there any last questions that we want to get to?
Yeah, there's one that's been asked twice about the ink. What's the smell of the ink? It's a new ink. Does it have a odor? And then
yeah, that's a great question, right? I don't think it's bad. I might not be the best person to ask because I live in ink, so it might be hard to me to smell it. But I have smelled bad ink before, believe me. And this one, I would say, is very reasonable as far as, you know, it's not off-putting. I can run this machine all day, and I don't feel like it's, you know, it's not bad at all. Cully maybe knows a little bit more about having to outgas it or something like that. I know we have fans and stuff, but I don't think it's in the specs that it has to be. I can't think of the word now. You know what I'm talking about.
Ventilated?
Ventilated, thank you. I don't believe it's in the specs.
Yeah, so it's not in the specs that the printer needs to be ventilated. Specific ventilation requirements are going to depend on the room you have it in.
Yeah.
If you have it in a room like this, it's going to be fine unventilated. If you put it in a really small room with a low ceiling, maybe ventilation is something to look at. But the ink is going to be low VOC, it's TPO free. So it's a pretty friendly ink. It doesn't have a lot of smell. It's, nice to work with ink. We've really liked it so far.
Yeah, like I said, I've been around these machines for a long time, and this one, like I said, I don't feel like it's off-putting or anything like that to me, you know.
good. One final question that here that we'll take, and you can ask more, and we'll answer them afterwards as well. But one, you mentioned the choice of protective or decorative clear. You know, why would you have one if protective can actually serve for both, right? Is there a difference between the two?
Yeah, that is a good question. And I can only imagine, and I don't know anything about this, but I can only imagine its price. I mean, that to me would be the only difference, right? So the protective obviously has a UV protectant, marring and all that stuff. The decorative is more like it just looks good. We don't guarantee any of that other stuff. But that's a great point, right? So I think it just depends on how much you want to spend.
Perfect. Well, thanks all for this and for the demo. Got compliments on it online, so that's okay. What we wanted to do, like I said, is open up any other questions or the like. Please add them to the chat Q&A section in there, and we'll take them afterwards as well if needed. Thank you for joining us today. We're at the top of the hour, so we wanted to again thank you for the time. Hopefully it was good information for you. We're around for more. Talk to your sales rep, talk to your partner, talk to EFI. We're happy to do it. And as Benny and Chloe both said, is if you're exploring the machine and you have questions about specific material, the best thing we do is bring it up and we'll help prove it out. John, thank you for your time today for sure, and being an early adopter and working with the printer. It was very enlightening what you talked about. So we're happy to have that. And for everybody else on the call as well, we do want to talk. We will be having another in the series next month on the 30H Plus hybrid printer as well. So we appreciate that, and information will be coming from there. With that, we're right at the top of the hour, so we appreciate everybody's time. Again, we'll stay on for some questions or take questions. Yes, one question is, if anybody's going to ISA, we will be at ISA with this machine in Las Vegas next week. And you'll be able to see it all there. And that machine will have be fully configured with clear and white, I believe, Chloe, right? So thank you for that. So happy to come see the machine. We'll be happy to talk to you. With that, I think that's the end of today's webinar. Again, send in any other questions. If we didn't get to them, we'll try to answer them as quick as we can. But I believe that will end. So thanks all for the time today.